What's up guys, Matt Moniz here, and in my hand I have the Huawei Nexus 6P, and I've been using this phone since last Wednesday. It's been about almost a week and I've been using it as my daily driver, and I have to say I am really impressed with it so far. Now this is not a full review, that will come out sometime in the near future, but in the meantime, I thought I'd share with you my top 5 reasons why I like this phone so far. So let's get started. The first reason to buy the Nexus 6P is because of the design. This is the very first Nexus phone to have an all-metal build, and it looks absolutely awesome. Now, I don't know if you remember, but when this phone was actually being leaked, the camera hump on the back looked like it stuck out excessively. Now that I have it in my hand, I have to admit the camera hump is not that bad. It kind of almost sits flush with the phone itself, and it's really not an eyesore. Now, I do obviously wish there wasn't a whole glass panel going across the back of the phone, but it still looks good, it makes the phone unique, and I think overall it's a very attractive device. And this also happens to be the first Nexus phone to have a fingerprint scanner. Now I'm used to using a fingerprint scanner that's on the front. By simply tapping your thumb, you're automatically unlocking your phone, but this time it's on the back, and it took about a few hours to get used to. I was kind of hitting the power button with my palm at the same time, but now that I have the angles down packed, it's actually quite comfortable. I'm not sure if I like it better than having it on the front, but it's not a disappointment, and I think it's not a bad place to put one at all. The second reason to buy the Nexus 6P is because of the camera. This is the very first time a Nexus device has an amazing camera. The Nexus 4 didn't have a good camera. The Nexus 5 was supposed to have a good camera, but ended up being pretty bad, even though it got optical image stabilization. And the Nexus 6 was supposed to have a good camera, but the colors from pictures came out a little bit too contrasty. The camera speed was actually very slow, and it just didn't provide a good experience. But we finally have a good camera on the Nexus line with a pretty affordable price depending on where you live, and I have to admit the pictures look absolutely awesome. In fact, DxOMark places the Nexus 6P's camera as the number 3 or the third best camera on the market today, coming after the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge and the Sony Xperia Z5 in first place. So a good camera on Nexus phone is definitely a bonus. Third up is stock Android. Now I know all Nexus devices run stock Android, that's a given. That's the reason why Nexus devices are released in the first place. But the Nexus 6P just runs stock Android so well. It's buttery smooth, it's the fastest experience I've ever had on any Android phone to date. It's just that good. Now even the Nexus 5 ran it well, the Nexus 6 ran it okay, but I can't express to you how well stock Android runs on this. Now you know how sometimes you use some Android phones and after 2 to 3 weeks it starts to lag a little bit? I don't think this is going to be the case with the Nexus 6P. Obviously it's still a little bit too early to tell, but I've talked to a few colleagues who've had the phone for at least 2 weeks, and they say the experience is just as good as the first day they got it. Don't get me wrong, Android Marshmallow is awesome, at least in terms of optimizations. The battery life is better because of DOS, especially when you're not using it. Google Now on Tap works extremely well, and overall, I am really impressed with the stock Android experience. Fourth up is going to external sound. The speakers on the Nexus 6P sound absolutely awesome. Now I know the Nexus 6 had dual-facing front stereo speakers, they sounded good, but compared to the 6P just sounds a lot better. The volume gets really high, and even the sound at high levels doesn't distort and always stays clear. Now, there's also a downfall to having external speakers. By having external speakers on your phone, they had to increase the size of the bezel on the top and bottom, so the phone's a little bit taller than I would have liked it to be, but for those of you that appreciate external sound, you're definitely going to want to pick up the 6P. And last but not least, at number 5 is battery. This phone has a 3450 milliamp battery and does a really good job lasting the entire day. Now, I've been getting about 3.5 hours of screen on time, which is not insanely amazing, but it's good enough to get me through the entire day. And I've talked to other tech YouTubers out there, they're getting anywhere from 4 to 4.5. So I'm not too sure why I'm only getting 3.5. Maybe I'm a heavy user. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of videos, and I'm constantly using my phone. So I'm gonna say the battery life lasts anywhere from 3.5 or to 4.5 hours of screen on time. Either way, you're gonna get a full day out of this puppy. It's gonna last the entire day, so you're not gonna be disappointed. So I am really impressed with the battery life. On top of that, you get fast charging, so you can really charge the phone to 100% in a very short period of time. Unfortunately, there's no wireless charging, so if you missed that from the Nexus 4, 5, and 6, you're not gonna find that with the 6P. Now I'm okay with not having wireless charging. I'd rather have fast charging and a bigger battery, which is what they have in here. So overall, I am pretty impressed with the battery life. So those are my top 5 reasons to pick up a Nexus 6P. I am really impressed with the phone so far. If you're really excited about my review coming up, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, never seen any of my videos, feel free to subscribe. And I want to know in the comments below if you're really excited about the Nexus 6P, if you're planning on picking one up, and what you like or dislike about the phone so far. Thanks guys so much for watching this video, and I will see everybody in the next one.